you have to have really good posture.
It's good for you, yeah. Whereas I'm in one of my like old lady tops where I can do this. I like it.
Yeah, exactly. So I've given myself no excuse for bad posture today, whereas you're giving yourself more excuse, but otherwise I'm just going to look very unflattered.
Well, last week I did kind of keep wanting to hit you on the back, but I thought she's already down.
Yeah, I know. Don't kick a good horse when it's down. Is that the phrase?
Alfie,
no, we don't put a good dog down. Sorry,
isn't it a horse? You don't put a good horse down.
No, we don't put a good dog down. That's that dog kennel where they don't kill the dogs.
That's really funny because yesterday I was talking to Alfie about careers in our usual romantic walk.
Yeah.
And I was trying to do an analogy about how I feel about my lack of skills / any talent whatsoever. And I thought it was a beautiful analogy.
Great.
Where I said it's like, when those dogs are running, racing. They're racing. All the dogs.
Wow, what an image.
And they're whatever dog is winning.
Yeah.
I pick.
Yeah.
But I might have a slow dog who's just chugging along, and he eventually gets.
Chugging. That's a good use of that word.
It's not chugging.
Trotting, maybe.
Trotting. It's probably because of that kids show Chuggington, which is trains.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I have no idea what the analogy is anymore.
So you see the dogs racing.
Yeah.
Are they in a circle? Oh no, they're not in a circle. I'm thinking of a racing track, like runners. Well, imagine humans are on a running track.
Yeah.
But they're
athletes.
But they're dog athletes.
Okay, they're dog athletes.
And I have one good dog.
You mean like a greyhound? Because greyhounds do run in a circle.
That's what I mean. I mean greyhound racing. Thank you. Alfie didn't know that. He just said dog racing. Anyway, so I have a couple of steady. Oh, bless you. I have
whenever I do a fake cry, I always sneeze. Whenever I pretend to cry, I always sneeze.
Really?
I wasn't pretending to cry just then, but that was just a fun, interesting
cool.
fact.
It is a bad analogy, so if you were crying, that'd be acceptable.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I have a couple of steady dogs, good dogs, like my Doodles and my, would say just my Doodles. And then I have maybe a dog that unexpectedly is winning the race.
Yeah.
Like, say, a novel that just came out of nowhere.
An incredible novel that's just dropped out of the sky.
Exactly. Who thought that?
Yeah.
Would happen? And then I choose that one for a bit. But then if I have a surprise dog, I might follow that one. But I don't have any, I wouldn't say, this is my dog.
You hate dogs as well. That's what makes this all so confusing.
Although we did see a couple was standing outside a coffee shop before lockdown, and it was like they had been placed, this couple, to come up to us with this dog that was annoyingly beautiful. It was a poodle cross something. And because Alfie's, petitioning for a dog.
Yeah.
And I, hate dogs.
Yeah.
So I tried not to speak to this couple, but they couldn't get away from us. And the kids were all over the dog, loving this dog.
I bet.
And the couple just immediately started saying, reeling off bullet points of how amazing getting a poodle was and why we had to have a poodle. It was hypoallergenic, it was friendly, it was good for the kids' brains. It was like they were selling me their own poodle. And so I now like poodles. So
me too.
They're the only dog I like now.
Oh, wow, yeah. I like poodles too. Although I don't like when they combine the two dog names and it's something weird like Cavapoo or like Caboodle. Yeah, it just there's something incredibly strange to me about that.
Just anything with poo in.
Yeah, I know.
You hate that, don't you? Hate it.
I hate it.
But anyway, yeah, I am considering getting a poodle.
Okay.
Eventually, that doesn't shed. And what I've decided is if we are going to get a dog, which is, I think, unfortunately going to happen, I think what we're going to do is going to have a front door, but then a dog front door. So I'm gonna have a foot bath for the dog.
Right by the door so we can't pad around.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I think that's what contributes to the really kind of bad smell in people's houses who have dogs, because they just tread mud everywhere.
They don't have a foot bath.
They don't have a little
foot bath.
Exactly. In fact, you should trademark that and sell
I'm going
to other OCD anal people.
Exactly. So before I leave the house on the dog walk, I'll fill a little bucket with warm soapy water and say, this is what you're going to get him when you get home.
Yeah, exactly. You can train him to do that from the beginning. Wow.
It's such a clever idea,
That's
actually
a really good idea.
Yeah. And also I'll just employ someone to pick up the shit, which I'm never, ever going to pick up.
Well, I always find really funny. I do genuinely think that having a dog is quite a lovely lifestyle. There are so many benefits. But the fact is, when you see somebody that you really think is cool and that you respect, out and they're having a conversation with you, and then you realise that they're holding like a bag of shit. It's so ridiculous.
I know.
You never view that person the same way again. So I just don't want to put myself in that position.
Yeah, and also we were the other day. I saw a friend's dog, and they picked up the poo with the bag, and then they weren't. Then they put it in the bin, and I was like, "Are you not going to antibacterial your hands?" And they're like, "No, it's just not going to come through the plastic, is it?" I said, "You don't know that. You don't know that."
It's just a different world. It's a different world.
It is. They have different. They deal with more.
Exactly. Their capacity for just kind of easy breeziness. Wow. I wish that I possessed that.
Yeah, but that's the thing about kind of living and different humans. Like with kids, I'm dealing with more every day than you are. But that's not to say that I'm dealing with things better or I have to. It's just you cope with more, or more stuff happens and you just deal with it. And I don't deal with a load of the stuff in your life daily that I wouldn't necessarily know how to handle.
So maybe we would be really good dog owners. We just don't know.
I couldn't.
Well, it sounds like that was a beautiful analogy.
My dog racing analogy, for my career. Yeah. It's true, because I don't have any set.
You don't know which dog is going to win the race whenever you're at the greyhound races, as we may want to be.
But I have the sense to follow the good dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and if that dog fails me, I'll just kill it. And say, fuck you, I'm not using you again. I'm going to play with those cats. Before it gets killed.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, it was a good career walk.
Yeah, really good career walk. I had a good career talk with Horatio the other day, but it wasn't really a career talk. It was just me getting upset because he said something probably completely nice and harmless and useful about me not Instagramming enough, and I just started crying.
You don't Instagram enough.
I don't Instagram enough.
We could do this podcast. The theme of this podcast is why BB should Instagram more. Okay?
I just think what's funny is it seems that like in a boyfriend I have found the male version of you who is so able to get down to the nubs of my insecurity when it comes to social media, etc.
It's basically you have married a manager.
Exactly.
And I am not married.
Exactly.
You're not married. None of us are married.
You're married to the male. You're with the male version of me.
Yeah.
Because Alfie is just like me. And Horatio is the male version of you.
Yeah. It's really funny.
What does that say about us?
Well, also what's it? Probably not true. I was about to say, and when we're fighting, Horatio's on my side and Alfie's on your side, but actually probably no one's on my side.
No. Horatio is actually very often on your side when it comes to me being like a little bitch about stuff. But anyway, we had a good career chat the other day, and I don't know, after it was all done, I felt so much better. And I don't know, I just think it's so silly that social media and stuff like that has the capacity to upset us so much.
But you get upset. Usually you only get upset, and I only get upset. Most people only get upset when there's a little bit of truth in what they're saying to you.
Absolutely.
And it's true that if you're in this kind of business, you do need to have some kind of
outward facing like representation of yourself, and I don't know, like it's not about social media, it's about what posting on social media represents. It represents the fact that you feel confident in yourself, it represents that you feel like you are worthy and have something to say. And I use all these different excuses to basically justify the fact that sometimes I feel like you double guess,
you second guess everything.
Yeah.
So you think I don't have any use of language. I literally have no sleep in my life anymore. So sorry about that. But yeah, you overthink to the extent that you think what you're doing is bad. When
totally.
I don't really have that. But also I treat it as a different thing now. It's just it's so natural for me to post stuff, or too natural. But Alfie has exactly the same problem. He waits too long, and then sometimes he even says stuff like, I send him a really good photo. So the other day he was boxing with Donnie, and I was like, this is really nice, just post it online, say, oh, I'll be back soon, sorry, or whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, I'll do that. 2 days later, it doesn't happen. And then I feel silly for being like, did you not Instagram that?
Yeah, exactly. Like Horatio took a funny little video of me or something, and he was like, did you put that on your thing? And I was like, no. And he was like, why? And it was just so funny because we just have these two completely different, like to me it was like, why would I post something like that? And for him it was like, why wouldn't you?
Well, you're definitely the more sane, that's a sane thing, but it's what you want out of it, really. If you do want, my end goal is to have, I don't know, it's something I enjoy. And if you don't enjoy, get off. But then what I don't understand about you and a lot of people like you who look but don't post. So why are you even looking then? If you don't want to be involved, get off.
Yeah, but I don't look that much. I try my hardest not to use Instagram too much. But what I do think is a contradiction and very much like hypocrisy within myself is that I think I disguise a lot of the reasons why I don't use social media as like me being actually like quite judgmental of how some people use it. And I'll become not obsessed, but definitely quite sort of transfixed by certain people on social media around my age, around similar kind of career type things, who use it in such an annoying way, in such a like kind of preachy, like over woke way, or like they just like do stuff. They post like random shit that's like really annoying, and I'll kind of bitch about it in my head in my own dialogue. But the fact is, I'm still impressed with them for having posted, and I'm probably just jealous, which is why I keep a keen eye.
You're jealous of me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're the bitch that I was talking about. No, I'm joking.
I've started using hashtags, which is thrilling. Seriously, I started using. I'm like, this is fun. I could get into this. Yeah. And then I realised, people are hashtagging because it gets more followers.
Exactly.
Not that I want more followers, but I never understood hashtags. Now I do.
Exactly.
Anyway, we got a really cool. Someone said that we'd be good travel presenters.
Wow.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I don't think that we're exactly like the vision of travel, you know? Like I've barely been to anywhere, and the few times that I have travelled, I've always like made a complete song and dance out
You've
of
been to Cornwall?
I did. I went to Cornwall, yeah. That was really exciting. Yeah, that does feel like a very long way away. No, I mean, when I went integrating after my A-levels, that was great, but at the same time, I also hated every second of it. So
I am not a traveller, and I kind of am slightly worried that for myself that I have no inclination to travel. I don't have any inclination to travel outside the house or West London.
It might just be because we're so unfamiliar with the concept of it right now.
Wherever I live, I like living there.
But I think as I get older and as my attitude towards like career and stuff changes, I think maybe part of the reason why I didn't want to travel before was because genuinely naively I was like, no, I can't take a big trip. I might get a big audition.
Yeah. Or don't book a holiday.
Exactly, don't book a holiday. Whereas now it's like, fuck that. Actually, it would be so cool to live in a different country for 6 months, to like just be able to pick up your suitcase and go. Obviously, I'm not saying that would never happen, but I think I've got probably a much more open-minded view towards it now.
Yeah.
I mean, the only place that we've travelled together kind of successfully is LA, obviously.
You mean that we actually got there?
We actually got there.
We got
we
there
stayed
on the plane.
And we did
It wasn't
things.
a successful career
No,
trip.
no, of course not.
But, you know, it was an experience and one I will never forget. Actually, I'm still quite haunted by.
In fact, Mummy told me that the first time you went to LA for like pilot season, you suddenly had to stay behind, right? Because you had a big audition in London. So she went ahead of you. And she was telling me that she was just amazed that she got to America, had never been to California, had to go to the airport, rent a car and drive all the way through Hollywood, this place that she'd never been before, in a car on the opposite side of the road.
Yeah.
And she said it was just a terrifying but very exhilarating experience.
Oh, she was so happy when
and
I
just
got
thought
there.
that was so sweet that she was doing that for you.
And she set up the whole place for me. And I only had like 3 auditions the entire time I was there. I lived there for 3 months and I had 3 auditions.
So funny.
But that did start me writing. That was when I started writing.
How old were you?
I was your age.
Oh my God.
I was your age. I had no auditions. I'd been kind of put up with this manager who, I mean, I can't believe she was allowed to be a manager. This one day, after she met me, she was like, are you working out? Are you working out? This was on a phone call. She rang me up just to say that. She didn't even say hello. Are you working out? And I was like, yeah. Because I can't really tell because you always wear like big dresses. And then she hung up the phone.
Oh my God.
That was it. And then one time she rang me about one of the auditions I had. And then she said, okay, well, let's touch base tomorrow at 10. And I was so innocent. I thought that touch base means meet up. So I drove the car. Can you believe I drove? I got up early. I made sure I looked nice. I thought, oh, she wants to see me, touching base.
Oh my God, and you just turned up at her office.
I turned up at her office and I sat in the reception and the receptionist was like, who are you? And I was like, I'm here to see, yeah, she said, we've got a meeting, And the receptionist looked at me like she, as if you don't have a meeting.
Yeah.
Walked back to the office And I heard her say, you got Jessie Cave here. She says that she's like, blah, blah, blah. And I heard the manager say, what? I said touch base. I said touch base. And she didn't even come out to say, look, Jessie, I'm sorry, actually you didn't. And so the receptionist came out like this, being like, oh, yeah, you don't have a meeting. She said she'll call you later.
Oh my God. It is so brutal over there.
I know. And then they did this weird thing of having headshots printed out back then.
No,
Can you imagine that now?
They still, I mean, even though it was like now, probably like 4 years ago when I was there for some auditions, I remember going into a room for an audition for like, literally it was listed as a frumpy girl next door, best friend, not conventionally like beautiful. And I walk in, and it's a room of models, literal models, who are all called Brittany, and they all have headshots as well.
Yeah.
And I was the only person that didn't have one. And I asked why. I was like, is that necessary? Did they ask you to bring that? And then the girl that was sitting next to me, who was just stunningly beautiful, but also seemingly approachable, was like, oh, no, I just did it, like for that extra something. And yet they all had it. And
they probably just put them in the bin. They probably just put them in the bin. And maybe it probably means that they don't have to look at anything other than, no, bin.
Yeah.
But after I realised that this manager was not for me.
Yeah.
Oh, I had this funny experience where she looked after Denise Richardson, Charlie Sheen's ex-wife, the Baywatch star.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. They had this big divorce. Anyway, she had a little dog, Denise Richards, and on one of the meetings that I was in there, where they were like, "You're just so quirky. I just love it. And I love your accent. You're just so quirky. Are those glasses real?" And anyway, Denise Richardson was outside with her little dog, and I must have looked at Denise with a smile or something, and so they took that as I was a Denise. What? They thought that my look at her meant that I was like a big fan of Denise Richardson, when I really wasn't. I didn't really know who she was. And so it was like, I don't know why, there was like 4 of them in there, and they all stood up. They looked at me like, we're going to give you a treat. They went, sorry, Tan, just wait. I'm telling a funny thing. And they went out. They spoke to Denise Richardson, and I saw them be like, she's in there. She's a bit, she's got glasses, but you just go in there and just, They brought Denise in with the dog, and Denise was like this. And I had to be like, oh, hi, it's so lovely it's so lovely to meet you, Denise. Denise, thank you. And they were like, do you want to hold her dog?
Oh my God.
And I did not want to hold her dog because I'm not a dog person, but I was like, yeah, I do.
Oh my God.
And they let me hold the dog, and then Denise came up to me and did this to my nose. You were just adorable.
Oh God, that was more for her than it was for you. How fascinating.
Yeah.
Like that's just, I think, sums up LA in a nutshell. It's actually more about the people craving attention than the people craving to like see stars and whatever.
And I also found when we went there last time, all of the people, we had like lots of meetings. Yeah. It was really nice, but it was for writing this time, which was way nicer.
Which was so much nicer, but I'm just remembering that last meeting that we went to.
Yes.
We were pitching like animation ideas and stuff, and we were like, so honestly, our attitude was so great, so carefree. We were like, fuck it, let's just go in, like we could say whatever the fuck we want, and we go into this big place, and then it was like the hottest day of the year, and our mum and Jamie were just waiting in this baking car outside. For like, must have been 2 hours or something.
They were in there a while, and the guy, he was lovely.
The head.
He was like, so where are you going back to? And we're like, oh, we just, we got the car. I said, who's in the car? You drive? Well, no, our mum drove us and our brother. Oh, well, I'll come out and meet him.
They were both asleep. They both fallen asleep out of the heat, and like Jamie would take her shirt off. They looked like abused children that we'd left in the car, and they had to stand up. They were all drowsy, and we were like, "This is them. They're from the production house." And he was like, "Oh, well, wasn't this a cute little family? Oh, a road trip, huh?" It was so embarrassing.
It was so embarrassing.
He was quite nice, but I think he was very startled by our whole vibe.
Yeah, and also the funny thing is, we came out of that meeting and be like, we got that
we got that in the bag.
That will happen.
It's so easy to bullshit over there, but they are just as capable of making you feel like you know, they're going to do something with it and then not. So it was really interesting to be there on the other side of things.
But I think almost every meeting they asked us if we'd gone to Universal Studios.
Yeah.
Have you
been to Universal?
As if, you know, that's why we came. Exactly. And we did go.
Exactly. We look like the type of people that come for the roller coasters, for sure. I'm
sorry. We're just doing a podcast. Yeah, we are. Did BB and me wake you up? Or is it BB and I?
BB and I.
I never know that. When I sometimes see people...
BB and me is like the informal way, so it's not really a big deal.
Oh, no, you can just go back to sleep. Do you want to go back to sleep?
Yeah, you do.
Okay, I'll get him.
Look at how he's looking at you.
Do you have anything topical to say? Oh, that was topical. Wow. I agree.
I want to be swaddled like that. It looks so comfy womphy.
Oh, there we go.
But yeah, LA was just wowza.
Would you pour this milk into this bottle for me? So I'll get it out for you. So just hold that open. Don't touch the tea. Don't touch the tea. We'll just have a little pause.
Do I take this off?
Oh yeah, sorry. So this is an LV pump, which is actually amazing if anyone is listening and is considering getting an LV pump.
Ooh, somebody's produced a lot of milk today.
No, that's like 3 days. That sounds disgusting, doesn't it, when you say it like that?
But I want to taste some.
It tastes like almond milk. Rude Health almond milk, though.
Ooh, the nice
good
sweet
one.
Mm. That's got something in it that makes it addictive. I remember when I was trying to be vegan for 6 months and I gained so much weight because I was just eating so much like nut-based sugar products. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. Jesus
Peanut
Christ.
butter is, I live off peanut butter now. But somebody asked me also how I'm dealing with being vegan and what do I think about the kids and stuff. And I have to come clean.
Yeah.
I am no longer a vegan, and this is awful. I'm embarrassed. I'm actually embarrassed to say it because I obviously seem like such a vegan. You know, I just look like a vegan.
You got that vegan glow.
I am mostly vegan. I live my life as a vegan.
Mm-hmm. You have the spirituality and the kind of effortless grace of a vegan.
But I just found it slightly impossible to. Not that I want to lose weight particularly. Sure, maybe 3 stone. But
sure. Sometimes just I just get rid of, you know.
Yeah.
A couple of inches. Just my massive lunch lady ass.
Wow, you're in a good mood today. That was a risk, you saying that, but that's funny.
Thank you.
Anyway, so meat is the only way that you can actually feel kind of full and kind of restrict. It's really annoying, but I still can't bring myself to eat chicken. And also after bleeding for so long after the birth,
You must have felt like you were craving something,
I needed
right?
some steak.
I crave steak anytime that I'm on my period.
Yeah, I had to. I just had to. And now Alfie, for the new year, on one of his new regimes, he's doing keto, which is disgusting. But it's kind of impossible to eat together if I'm not eating a bit of meat. So I'm doing it.
We flirted with keto before, haven't we?
I
When
think
we were doing Edinburgh.
Keto is brilliant for that, but we were grieving so hard. I think that we didn't even notice.
Oh yeah, exactly. I think that we weren't even like registering what we were even.
I was thinking about that yesterday because we didn't have dinner once.
No.
We just had peanuts the entire time.
We were just snacking on what are they? The
KP.
The KP
roasted peanuts.
The barbecue flavored ones, right?
No, yeah, they're barbecue.
They're kind of like they have that smoky taste. That was literally all we lived on.
Yeah.
Which is so unhealthy. And actually, this is something I thought would be interesting to talk about. Where do you kind of draw the line between health and like the optics? Because it's so easy to sort of go on a health kick and say that you're doing it for like the benefits for yourself, right? With something like keto. But actually, if you're doing it to lose weight, you're probably not going to actually be helping your insides. And something I've noticed recently is that having tried to cut out carbs and sugar for years and years and years and years, as I'm sure both of us have, finally incorporating carbs and stuff into my diet now, I just feel so much happier And I don't know if it's just because I now know that I don't have to constantly like be afraid of like if I do eat like a biscuit or something or whatever to like punish myself for it. Or if it's because carbs genuinely make you like more stabilized and your mood more stabilized or something like that. But I just thought that was like a really interesting thing because I don't know, now considering how much happier I feel having a more balanced diet, I obviously still try and like be moderate and all that. But do you think that the mood, how shitty you feel when you're really restricting, do you think it's worth it if it makes you feel better physically?
Right, lately, because we've been doing keto, the only reason I did it is because I read that you get through the first bit of it being you have like fatigue and
the flu, right?
And then you have this amazing energy, and it really is true. You have this amazing energy suddenly, and that's why I tried to stop drinking coffee, which has obviously gone out the window. But I tried to stop drinking coffee, went through that ordeal of not drinking coffee to come out the other side, and I suddenly didn't have this kind of ticking in my head of stress all the time and anxiety, and that's come back. But now I enjoy drinking coffee and I know I'm going to get that ticking, but it's kind of less. I think once you know your limits and what is good for you and what is actually bad for you and makes you feel bad, then it's kind of easier to stick to something.
You basically just have to play it by ear, don't you?
Yeah, but I think the most boring thing is true, which is moderation is the best thing.
Totally.
Being balanced.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just like cut out a complete entire food group and expect your body or your brain or your mind or whatever to not kind of like feel shitty a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think moderation, I mean, what's so annoying about it as well is moderation is genuine what they teach you at school. They're like, eat a healthy, balanced diet, eat part of this food group and part of this food group and whatever. And they show you the charts and the pyramids and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you spend the next 10 years fucking your body up because you're like, no, that was all crazy. I'm going to go on this diet that's telling me that, you know, it provides this benefit and this benefit and this benefit. And now it's like, I should have just fucking like, listened to what they said in school.
But we've got the same mentality of we want something for free.
Exactly.
So I think everyone wants something for free. So right now on the keto thing, you can have 0 noodles, which I've never had before. And I never let myself eat noodles because I thought, oh no, they're like carbs. You can't eat noodles, even though I find them the most delicious thing in the world. And now that these 0 noodles have come into my life, I'm like, where have they been? And they are still disgusting.
No,
but they look like noodles. They feel like noodles.
Maybe they fill the void a little.
They do fill the void.
I remember getting into 0 noodles about 5 years ago and bulk buying 3 cases of them. And after 2 or 3 experiences of being like, my God, these really hit that craving, I then suddenly became so disgusted with them that these boxes of this like gelatin like mixture just sat in the pantry for like 2 years, genuinely.
Yeah. And I am starving like half an hour after dinner.
Yeah, exactly. Which is never a good
really
sign,
shit,
right?
Yeah. Well, I think when you remove something and you deprive yourself, you just suddenly, you do realise, oh, actually, this is not worth it. But, I was going to say something. I forgot what I was going to say. I think it was about noodles, something beautiful about noodles.
I made some noodles the other night.
Made noodles?
No, not obviously made them, but then like I cooked with them.
Is that a thing? Can you you can homemade pasta? Can you homemade
of course.
noodles?
I'm sure you could homemade noodles. Yeah.
Wow. Never thought about that.
But yeah, I made noodles the other night and it was incredibly freeing. It was like, my God, I'm like just a normal person cooking with normal ingredients, you know?
Yeah.
And having a boyfriend obviously means that you don't have the option to like be mental all the time. You can pretend for the first couple of months like, oh, I'm just not hungry. Like, you just eat whatever. And then you have to
I'll just have the broccoli.
Then you have
Just
to
the
commit.
broccoli.
And yeah, but it's just been such a nice eye-opening experience.
Yeah, I think you have to accept if you're in a relationship, you have to normalize your food a little bit, unless you have a boyfriend who wants to just eat broccoli.
Yeah, exactly. But basically, it's just interesting to come to like the end of an era, really, in terms of like dieting and whatnot, and look back and be like, that was so disordered and ultimately completely unhelpful, because I constantly felt miserable by the way I looked. I constantly felt like I was fluctuating. I constantly felt like I was never looking my best or that I wasn't trying hard enough. And the second that you let all of that go and you just try something that's a bit more balanced and based on like how you actually feel inside, it just kind of, it's so difficult to not be angry at yourself for all of the wasted time and whatnot.
It's exactly the same with mentality in a way. With kind of lately I've been trying to be more fuck it, like we said this the other day, but I overthink everything and I get worried too much. I constantly think about working. And lately, I've been really trying to have something happen, and then instead of over dramatizing it and kind of getting stressed, just to immediately think, it actually doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And that's something that will take years for me to accomplish and actually be a more positive person. And I do go through every couple of years, I do the Google search, like, what's the best book on positivity?
Yeah.
There's always The Secret, but I don't want to read The Secret.
I think like The Secret is like a dog whistle, you know, when it's something that represents something else.
I thought that the secret of The Secret is you have to hear a dog whistle.
No. Dog whistle is like a term when people say something and they're meaning something else. Like they use the term dog whistle in politics. When somebody says that they care about law and order, it's a dog whistle to people who are kind of racist and want to see like harsher criminal like penalties placed on like.
So only dogs can hear it.
It's supposed to be representative of the fact that like only certain people will hear it at a certain pitch. So it's
Right.
like it's a term that's used for kind of disguising language. And I think that The Secret is quite an interesting dog whistle for. If you see anybody talking about The Secret or posting about The Secret on Facebook, you know that they're like flirting with the idea of Scientology, but like they're not quite on the way there yet. Because,
That explains the people who told me about The Secret.
because it's a freak. Like, do you know what I mean? Like The Secret, it's just complete bullshit. Like you visualize a red bicycle and a red bicycle appears outside of your door type of thing, and it's like one step behind Scientology where we're all like aliens living. So you just got to be careful if anybody tells you to read the book The Secret. They're trying
I'll
to
tell
convert
you
you to
after
Scientology.
who recommended The Secret to me, and you'll be surprised. You
No
won't
way.
be surprised. Yeah.
Oh, I
He's
can't
on his
wait.
way. He's on his way. It's being sarcastic. That's so funny.
Loads of actors get into The Secret because it kind of helps you justify these like crazy ambitious dreams that you have. And if you because apparently Jim Carrey wrote $1 million check to himself 5 years before he got cast in his big.
He's not Scientologist, is he?
I mean, I don't think he's a Scientologist, but he does believe in The Secret, or at least he's used as an example of The Secret. He wrote $1 million check to himself, and he was going to cash it in 5 years' time. He wrote the date, and that was the day he got cast in, like, I don't know, The Truman Show or something like that. And 15 million. 15 million.
So
Okay,
The
there we go.
Truman Show, The Mask, Ace Ventura.
He was on a string of like
yeah.
good luck, and apparently it's because he visualized it and he believed that was going to happen. And so actors use that example to be like, I'm getting this role and whatever. And it just means, what do you then tell yourself when that thing doesn't work out? Do you like?
No, but then you say, well, what's meant to be, what's meant to be.
Exactly, that was meant to happen because actually this is going to direct my path in this way. It's all just like such psycho bullshit, you know?
I just would love to believe in everything happens for a reason and then that wasn't meant to be. I would just love that.
But then what use is all of the suffering in the world inflicted on like unbelievably innocent people, on children, like just the complete wealth disparity of the world, how
Exactly.
completely unbalanced everything is. It just is too easy for people in relatively privileged lives to think that things happen for a reason, because we still believe that like we're all special and life is about us. And if we had even just a taste of what it was like for somebody in a more difficult position, they would never be so foolish as to think like things happen for a reason, you know?
Yeah. I think I used to want to be more of a dreamer and more idealistic. But lately, lately especially, and I think I was on the way before Ben, but now especially I'm kind of like, I really have such low expectation for, and I don't let myself ever I don't let myself ever even daydream. And I was talking to Alfie about this yesterday because I said, do you that was a big vomit, wasn't it? Sorry.
You're
Sorry.
okay.
You know, he just wants to be on the podcast, basically.
Exactly,
That's
just
why.
an attention seeker.
You know? You just want to make some points. Did you read The Secret? Okay. Yeah, I said, do you ever dream? And he was like, yeah, all the time. And it made me, because I've spent so many hours with him, sometimes you forget crucial parts of their personality because they're parts that you don't really come into our daily lives because we're so busy doing parenting or trying to work or trying to homeschool or whatever. So it's like you don't see a core part of his personality is actually a really positive,
Optimism.
optimistic person. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry you're with me. I'm so sorry. I suddenly just felt so sorry for him that he's with such a negative kind of, not sad, because I'm not a sad person, but I'm definitely when something bad-ish, even bad-ish happens, I'm like, that of course that was going to happen.
But that's a family trait. We all do that.
Yeah, I know.
And also, I think that you're being too harsh on yourself. You're definitely not a negative person.
Do you think?
You are, no. Absolutely not. Like, I think a negative person is someone I would define as having a heavy energy with them. They could still be a dreamer, by the way, but they're negative energy because life around them isn't good enough and isn't pleasing them. You are actually somebody that carries a lot of light with you and stuff like that. You can be quite...
What?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
I don't think I do.
I always feel better after seeing you. When I don't see you for a week, it's no surprise that I feel shitty about myself and we get into a fight when we see each other, because you're somebody that just makes me feel so much better just to be alive, genuinely.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah, you have a really positive energy.
You have a very negative energy.
I'm a very, no. I'm a witch. I'm an actual
when
cursed
When
witch.
I don't see you for a while, I just feel so much better and lighter.
Yeah. Exactly.
No,
Honestly, I'm a witch. I'm a witch.
No, you're the same. You do. You have but you're the person in my life that is the most changeable, though.
Sure.
You within half an hour, you can go from...
Oh, yeah. I was buzzing yesterday. I was like really in good mood. I was folding all these clothes on my bed, which you know me, so I'm in a good mood. Do you know what I mean? Like my environment.
You were folding clothes?
I was folding my clothes. I was putting them up on the hangers. I was using all the different little bits. And I was like, trouser section here. We're going to colour coordinate my tops. It was all great. And then Mummy came in and she was like, oh, hi, darling. Hi. She was like, your hair looks redder. And she said it in a way that was completely harmless and I know intended just to be like, oh, it looks nice. But I interpreted it as, you dyed it again, you fucked it up even more, like how ridiculous. And honestly, my mood switched to darker than like, it was awful. So I do really resent that quality in myself that's like so easily offended by stuff. And it took me half an hour to build myself back up again until I could like skulk into the room and be like, so how was your day? It was so stupid. Yeah. It was so stupid.
I'm like that too, but I'm that goes away a little bit with age, I think.
And I don't know why, it's like I'm regressing and having these like, I'm normally quite like calm and emotionally intelligent and nice, but for some reason I have these bubble moments of complete adolescent grumpiness. Like we were in the car the other day and I was trying to park and she just looked out of the window and said, we're not going to make it. In like a nice way, in a teacherly way. It wasn't her being mean. And I honestly yanked the key out of it and I was like, well, fine, we're not going to make it. If you don't think I'm going to make it, then we're not going to make it. And I stormed out of the car and she was like, Bibi, what the fuck? And I was just like, you make me feel really shitty sometimes. Aww. It was so rude.
One invention that would really, really help my life right now, and this is not something that would ever get sold because it's too dangerous, is a dummy rope. So it kind of ties around the baby's head so that it just keeps the dummy in place. So when you put the baby to bed and you also don't want the baby to vomit up all of the milk, you just fed him so that he actually sleeps.
I think that you can get that in adult size, but I'm pretty sure it's a BDSM type ball gag.
I basically want a baby gag, just to keep it in place, just for a little bit of time, so I can just have a shower.
That's a great idea. That is a great idea. You should invent that yourself.
Well, I do it when he's napping. If I just like scrunch up a flannel and I put it next to his mouth on each side, and I know he can't choke because I'm right there.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be brave enough to obviously do that, and that's not allowed.
Okay, well that's a very useful product then, isn't it? That's not like a selfish indulgent product, is it? Which is normally what I'm looking for.
What are you
always
looking
on
for?
The market for a selfish indulgent product?
What would actually help your life right now?
Maybe a sun cream that is perfectly balanced with the moisturizer that I like, because I don't like the fact that sun cream makes your skin like so white, but I also don't like the fact that you have to put on 2 layers if your moisturizer doesn't have it. I mean, you know.
Do you not mix it with your moisturizer?
I mean, what I do is I put on moisturizer first and then I put on the sun cream on top. Oh. You see, that's the silly thing that I should do. I should mix them together.
Yeah, I just mix Sensuben with La Roche-Posay.
I think it's just because I realised, like, I don't know, applying sun cream is the one thing that you can do every day that is actually sensible and will prevent you getting wrinkles. Like there are a million products out there that you can use to try and like reduce fine lines and stuff after the fact, but sun cream is the one thing that you can use to stop your skin, and that's what I'm only starting to realise now. So
but also I like the texture of sun cream. I love that. I know you're allergic to the one I use, but I haven't been using it because I haven't been outside in a long time. So I haven't needed to use it, and I really miss it.
It adds a nice glow to the skin. You get that sun cream glow. Do you know what I mean? That I hate UV glow. So yeah, that's one thing that I wish I could find.
So I got this. I saw this being advertised on Instagram, obviously, and I never buy anything off Instagram.
Oh, I do all the time, and it's almost always a terrible product. So
really,
yeah.
This is the first one I've done. So this is my first Instagram product. It's called the Seated Queen.
That's a really good name.
It is a very good name. You just think of a queen.
I'm the seated queen.
Sitting down.
Horatio calls me Pillow Queen.
Why is the queen sitting down? Why is that a good thing? I mean, it's a good name for a queen, but is that an expression, the seated queen?
The seated queen, i.e. like I'm so luxurious and glamorous that I don't even have to, raise from my position.
Oh, right. So she's lazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
She's glamour puss. I think that's what it's trying to imply, right?
Well, I don't know why they called it this then. Maybe because it's a cream that is... I thought it was I'm looking for a new night cream. And this is a cold cream that you didn't know. You've never heard of Pond's cold cream?
Well, I knew that cold creams what women applied in the 1950s, right? And it was a very thick, like white cream, right?
And then you rub it on, and then you use a flannel to take off your makeup.
Ah.
So that's why I thought you'd like it.
Oh, cool. I've always wanted to try
Because you
something
wear
like
shit
that.
tons of makeup.
Thanks, bitch. Thanks.
Look, it smells nice. It might relax you.
That does smell lovely.
Yeah.
That smells really lovely. Oh, maybe give me
And
some and I'll
it's free
try
from
it.
parabens, lanolin, mineral oils, surfactants.
Why does it feel like we are literally advertising
Literally.
this like we're on the Home Shopping
Give us a
Network?
job. Give
Genuinely
us
anything,
a job.
Anything at this point.
Yeah?
We can sell it. We can
Seated
sell
queen.
it.
It's about a queen sitting down. It's a whole story in there.
Exactly.
As you do your cream, you think of the queen. What kind of queen is she? Is she a good queen?
Is she like a Yas queen or is she like a royal queen? Is she a political queen? Is she a drag queen? You know?
What kind of queen is she?
What kind of queen are you?
But all we
Tell us
do
in the
know
comments below.
is that she sits on a nice chair.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Like us.
Anyway, I'm going to try it. It's quite, because I'm so rigid with my regime in terms of skincare and stuff. This is me rebelling because I know I'll be allergic to it.
Exactly.
Actually, I've even tried it. Don't really like it.
Yeah. But it's like I want to be able to use what normal people use,
Yeah.
rather than having to use like pharmaceutical grade, like childcare skincare,
Yeah.
because that's the only stuff that doesn't have like allergens in it and whatever. It would be really nice just to be able to slap on a bit of this that my
Try
friend is
this one
using.
week.
God, yeah, I wish I wasn't so allergic to everything.
Yeah, same.
But yeah, good for us. Good for us branching out.
All that
trying new
actually
things.
matters, like sun cream, all that actually does make a difference to skin is drinking water
Yeah.
and keeping your skin moisturised,
Absolutely.
however you do that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And isn't it mental that most boys around my age and sometimes even up to your age, and obviously when they're teenagers, just they haven't even conceptualized moisturizer.
No. I try and get Alfie to even just wash his face before he goes to bed.
Yeah.
And he's like, why would I do that?
I know. It's just
Why?
It's just so bonkers, but I guess it's like it makes sense in terms of like the different pressures that we put on like men and masculine people in life, because ultimately it's that lack of care thing that we talk about, like that's the attractive thing, but if if a woman does that, it just is nowhere near as attractive. It's
Yes.
just like such a double standard.
Oh no, but I really wanted to be one of those girls who doesn't have to wear moisturiser and she's just so like laid back. She doesn't even need to brush her hair.
God, yeah.
I remember once I went out with a guy and I wanted to keep up the impression of being kind of low key. And so rather than having to kind of take my whole thing of Senchaban to his house every day, and I kept a makeup bag under his bathroom, under his sink, and I put it right at the back, and there was all this hair and like gross stuff around it, but I thought this is the only place he will never look, and he won't know that I need eye cream and this and exfoliator. And so I would go to the toilet before bed, and I would like put the taps on and like pretend I was, I don't know, and why would I do that? Why didn't I just say I need to wash my face and put on some cream? Why did I do that?
I know, how silly.
But I think lack of care is something that is the reoccurring argument I have with Alfie, and I think in general is with everyone. I think like even just little things show lack of care, but for them, the guy usually, they don't it's not them not caring
Yeah.
at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that they don't understand why it would upset me that when he reads a children's book to them at night for fun and as a game, he likes to chuck the book so that it hits the wall and then rebounds. And so that in the middle of the night when I'm walking to the bedroom, I like trip over a book. And then in the morning, I see that the book I've stood on. And I'm like, why did you throw the books again? Why did you have to throw the Mr. Men book like that? Why? Why couldn't you just put the Mr. Men book?
Yeah, it's just
in the normal place,
isn't it?
Is
Yeah,
that because it's fun? It's just fun.
I remember.
Stupid.
It's so dumb. It's
Why
so
do you have
dumb.
to throw the book like that? They like it. No, they don't. They can probably live without that. They have enough stimulation in the day.
Yeah. Remember, I went out with someone for a while, and I was excited to see him after we had been away. He'd been at a festival.
If they go away to Glastonbury Festival, you know you're never seeing them again.
Exactly. Well, also, if somebody defines a lot of their personality based on the fact that they like festivals, you know that's probably never going to work out, right?
I had the same thing with a boyfriend when I was about 19. He went away to Glastonbury, and I didn't even really like him, but I thought, I'll give him a chance when he gets back. But he didn't just go to Glastonbury. He went from the Tuesday. No one goes on a Tuesday.
No one goes on the Tuesday.
He left, maybe he was lying to me, but he basically was going for as long as possible. He got back on the following Tuesday morning. So he was away for in total a week. And I'd already decided in my head this was over by the time he got back, just because he obviously back then he didn't even have a way of texting me or anything. So it was just done. But in his head, he had a great time. And then when I arrived at his house, when he got back, he was sitting in a similar disgusting way, kind of like shriveled up with 3 jacket potatoes with 3 tins of baked beans. It was like not a plate, it was like a wheel. He was eating it was huge, this plate. And I counted everything and he was like, do you want some? I was like, I'm okay.
I mean, it's just so funny, isn't it? Like the way that you feel when you realise maybe you're not as into someone as you thought they were. The second you watch them eating something gross, you realise I have no love for you.
Yeah, but
none.
Then if they eat something gross and you still love them,
Then who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, realising I didn't fancy someone when he took a photo, taking photos of his dinner that he'd cooked himself and sending them to me. And I just started ghosting him because it was like, I never want to see you again. I never, ever want to see you again.
Food photos. People who take a lot of food photos.
It's a great way to test out a relationship. If you're questioning whether or not the other person really likes you, try and do something that grosses them out because you will get ghosted or a proposal. There we go. That's our theory.
Yes, good shout. But
good shout.
Good shout. Good shout. I wasn't actually thinking as I said that. I was looking at that photo of Marge Simpson. Anyway, somebody also said, is there anybody out there, this is on our Patreon, who wants to get into acting for fun? And I thought that was really nice because so much of the time people ask us, if you want to get into acting, how do you do it? How do you get an agent? Blah, blah.
Yeah, with wild eyes, like, how do you get into acting?
You want some of that sweet rejection. Anyway, for fun, it's nice, yeah? And then somebody said, is it fun being an extra? Which you can't call them extras anymore, you have to call them supporting artists. But it made me think of my first experience into acting when I didn't even know that I would actually in a few months get a job, which is just beyond me, and that job would be Harry Potter, which again is ridiculous. Anyway, 3 months before I was in an actual Hollywood film, I was an extra. And I don't think anyone really knows this, although it's on my CV. Cranford girl. It was my first job. I thought when the children's agent rang me up and said, it's 2 days. I thought it was a part.
Yeah.
Village girl.
Yeah.
Not a big part, but still village girl.
Yeah.
Sounds nice.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
So mummy drove me to the middle of nowhere in the country. And again, I thought, this is normal. I'm still arrived.
Going to location, no big deal.
And I basically realised very quickly that I was not the main part. And it was a really good experience because it was raining so heavily, and Judi Dench was in Cranford, and so was this up-and-coming rising star who was my age, Kimberly Nixon.
From Fresh Meat.
From Fresh Meat. And I remember looking at her and thinking, she's got the part I want. And we were in this big crowd scene when it had stopped raining, and she was the main thing in the scene, Kimberly Nixon. And I just wanted to get to the front just so I could scowl at her. But I wasn't. I was put right at the back. And we had to kind of like clap. It was like a wedding scene or something. Clap at the wedding. And you can see me in the scene. And I am just scowling. Everyone else is clapping, but I'm just standing there just doing like a half clap and just like at Kimberly Nixon.
Jesus Christ. Because also once you're there, you can't get out.
No,
if you
you're
had
trapped.
known, like you wouldn't have signed up to that. But that's what's really difficult about those kind of situations, because you always think it sounds fun, theoretically. But then you get there and you're like, oh my God, I would rather be doing anything else. Remember when we were extras in St. Trillians? The first one, I must have been, 8 or 9?
But that was a fun day because it was in central London. It was the big scene where
they're doing QI or something. Oh, no,
Yeah.
they're doing like a university challenge type thing.
and you were in love with Colin Firth, and he waved at you.
Oh my God, it was quite a dream. Yeah, it was actually quite a dream. Now we think about it, it was actually quite a dream.
And also, we were in central London, so on the breaks, we could just sit on the nice streets, and it was sunny. It was actually a lovely day.
Yeah, but you're confusing. It wasn't in central London. We met in central London, and then we were carted out to like that big estate. It wasn't in central London. You probably blacked it out slightly. Basically, we were put in a big room in central London.
I don't want the memories back.
I was wearing the flowery dress, the one that you wore to the premiere, that I also now have in my wardrobe at home. So that dress has been on a long journey with all of us. And we were told, okay, we're going to put you in 2 halves. One of you is going to be the schoolgirls. And, we're going to give you, like, the hockey sticks and all the uniforms and all that kind of stuff. And I desperately, desperately wanted that. And then the half of you are just going to stay in your old clothes. And we were so close to being on the schoolgirl side, but we weren't picked. So then we were just, like, the crowd, and we just had to clap. And I felt so heartbroken the whole day that I didn't get to be a schoolgirl.
But you were really sweet. You were so happy to be there. And I loved being there with you because at that point I didn't have any ambition to be an actress. So I was kind of just enjoying the day. And that's the trick. If you can try and take out any expectation and hope for the day, just experience it. And on the Cranford day, it started bucketing with rain. And immediately, Judi Dench, Kimberly Nixon were carted off to shelter. We weren't. We just had to stay in this field getting soaked.
Yeah, they do treat supporting artists like shit
Awfully.
sometimes. Like you have to have real sort of strength of character to endure some of the patronising shit that they do. Because I just think it again highlights how ridiculously famous actors are treated on sets. Like, you would think that these were like shamans or gods or something. It's like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, this is somebody that's good at something like acting, which is actually pretty easy to be good at. They've been lucky enough to like have a really good career path. And sure, maybe they're quite important to the plot of the film, but like they're not the only person working on it. And yet the way that they're treated compared to how like the lowly crew or Jesus Christ, supporting artists, Jesus Christ, is so mental that actually I just think that they don't want people to know how bad it is.
But then it creeps out when you get kind of clips on the internet from like Tom Cruise shouting at someone or what's his name, the Machina guy, Christian Bale shouting. It is true, and it seeps into an actor's. If you're built up like that very early in your career, if you're a young actor working, when you're suddenly not the main part or as big a role as you had, or you're not getting all the attention from the director, it really affects you. Yeah. Like I had a similar. It was so awful. But because obviously in Harry Potter 6, I was quite like a nice big part. And when I was contracted for the last 2 films, I was a tiny part. I mean, I just die basically, and then that's it. But I
had that great werewolf killing scene.
Donnie and Margot watched it the other day, and then they tried to reenact it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, they asked why I wasn't dead if I died in the film, which was really sweet. Anyway, I had gained a lot of weight between the films.
God, we love chatting about this shit.
Yeah, I know, but I was thinking about the other day because it's so sad because I gained all this weight and I felt so insecure, and I remember going onto the set for the first time for the Deathly Hallows and thinking, they're not going to recognise me. No one's going to recognise me. And also, I'm basically an extra in this film. So I remember walking past one of the lead actors and thinking, they're just not going to say hello to me because obviously I'm fat now and I'm not a big part. And I think it was Rupert, who was lovely. I think he said hello to me. And I remember so sad. I remember being like, don't look at me. Don't look at me.
You're a famous actor, don't look at me.
Even though I had just been in a film with him,
Yeah.
He was, technically a friend. It was one of them. I don't know if it was Rupert, but that's how my self-esteem was so low because I'd been put on this had this
pedestal
in the previous time, and it was just so stupid. And I still feel like that. Like, have I talked about the Daniel Radcliffe thing in Soho?
No.
It was a similar thing when I was in Soho Square, and it was around this period of time, and Daniel had just started becoming this star. I think he was doing Equus or something. I don't know what he was doing. Did he do Equus during Harry Potter? Anyway, he was big. He had these 2 huge bodyguards with him. So he was so obvious walking around because of these 2 huge bodyguards. And I saw him in Soho Square, and I instinctively went, Daniel! And they immediately, the bodyguards went like this around him, and I said, oh no, sorry, it's Jessie. And he looked at me and he went, oh yes, Jessie, hello, how are you? It was a really nice chat. He was like, we were really friendly with each other when
he was such a nice
he was
guy,
lovely,
wasn't he? Yeah.
And so we had a nice funny chat with him. But then it was clear that he had to go, and I was like, okay, cool, see you later, bye. And he turned around, and then he just kept walking the same way I was walking, but like a couple of feet in front of me, didn't look back, so I was just now following him.
So embarrassing.
And I didn't think to say, oh, I'm walking the same way, do you want to walk the same way? But because I was like, no, you are Daniel Radcliffe, and I am
just
not.
lowly. Yeah.
It is so weird, isn't it? How
It
it affects
really
you.
is.
Like if you met a really famous friend now, how would you?
I don't know. I mean, I've been in that situation before where you bump into someone and you're just like not quite prepared. I think that your brain immediately tries to jump to either like quite forced familiarity, like, oh mate, yeah, how's it been, whatever. Or I just retreat into, I almost try and act like aloof and cool because I'm so nervous type of thing that like, I'm not important enough to speak to that person. Cold. So I'm just sort of like, yeah, no, like whatever. But actually, the nice thing to do would just to be honest and interact with that person
as a human,
and not be pretentious about it.
Definitely, and also it seems so silly now.
Exactly, because it's like, what is celebrity anyway? Like celebrity culture is so hilariously backward, and the fact that the pandemic has taught us all how kind of like inessential celebrity really is in terms of like the world and everything like that. We should all just like take a big collective look at how we treat and idolize certain people and how that contributes to like such warped attitudes, I think, that trickles down into so many different elements of life, like beauty and I don't know, like work and everything like that. I just think it's I mean, this is not at all coming from like a bitterness place of like, oh, I wish I was famous or something like that, because I genuinely don't think that famous people experience the world in the same way that normal people do, and I almost feel sorry for them in a way, because I just think that things should be more balanced.
Yeah, it's so true. Very good point. I think that we've talked about enough.
We really have.
I think that we've done a lot. We talked about things.
We've been hard hitting today.
Yeah, had a few anecdotes.
Exactly. I think we passed the Bechdel test this time around. Bitch, snarky bitch. You're a snarky bitch. Whoever left that fucking comment.
Oh, maybe she was being...
No, she wasn't. She was being slightly patronising. And also, have you found that some people...
You can't call someone a snarky bitch.
Joking. Do you find it funny that some people, like, leave comments on our YouTube and stuff that are, like, not, like, insulting or criticising, because I think that's natural when it comes to, like, anything that you're putting yourself out onto. What? It's very...
No, sorry, I was just thinking...
You're looking at me like this. Don't talk about this. I know. Do you find it funny that some people leave comments that kind of imply that we're just like a bit dumb, or that we're like phobic of certain areas and topics?
Why the fuck are you watching?
Why are you watching then? Like, if you got to this point in the video,
Yeah.
then clearly you support us on some level, even if it's a subconscious one. Do you know what I mean?
This is our therapy. Okay?
Maybe, you know what I was talking about earlier when I said that there are certain people online who I hate what they do and I judge it very harshly, and yet I'm still intrigued by them and I keep returning back. Maybe we're those people for these commenters.
Definitely.
And if so, babe, you need to sort out your addiction, clearly, you know? Because we're not going to save you.
We're not going to save you. We can't save you.
We can't even save ourselves. So
have a good week, everybody.
Have a good week, everybody.
Thank you for. I hope you enjoy our Patreon video of BB cutting my hair. She's going to correct my
terrible haircut,
slanting haircut, the hairdresser story, which I did write about on Patreon. If you Read that. It's now, it looks even more lopsided now. How did that happen? So you'll see it in a minute and you'll be shocked.
I'm very excited.
Yeah. And yeah, thank you again if you've pre-ordered my book. That's really nice.
We love you.
Yeah. Have a nice day.
She's going crazy now. She's going